All right, so I think we're live. I think we're good to go here. I always gotta double check YouTube, man, because sometimes, bro, the videos are on private, and it's just like, what the heck's going on, man? All right, cool. I think we're good. I think we're live.
Perfect.
What's going on, man?
What a difference a week makes, huh?
Dude, I was riding pretty high after that Patriots game.
You and me both, man. We were sitting there excited. Big step for the Jets. Aaron Rodgers looked great. The defense looked great. The offense looked great. They're playing an easy Bronco team. Go on the 3-1. Here comes our run. Here comes all these good things. And then boom. A little smack back to reality right now, which has been a rough couple days, man. To be honest with you, I was actually pretty pissed off on Sunday. I think I texted you. I was mad, dude. I was literally mad. Sunday going into Monday, you watch the press conference, you're even more pissed off. Now you kind of dive down a little bit, but man, woof.
Yeah, dude, I was furious during that game. I was literally watching that Broncos game, dude. I was literally screaming at certain spot, like the third one, not handing it off to Braylon Allen. The penalties, bro, the false starts. We're gonna dive into the game.
Yep.
Quick shout out to everybody here. Jets trash. Let's go, boys. Charlie, what's going on, man? Damn, dude, that sucks. I got a couple messages and comments from people that went to the game.
Me too.
You know, obviously bad weather, 10-9 loss. Brutal, man, brutal.
Well, it's a comedy of things. It's like where you spend a lot of money on the tickets. You're excited about to see a great game. This whole experience that you want, the pouring rain the entire time. So you're drenched, you're miserable, bad football, and they lost. And you lost money too. So it's like it's just terrible, man.
Yeah, dude. So before let's do this Davante Adams stuff before we dive into the game, right? So obviously there's been a lot that's really taken place over. I want to say since I guess maybe the end of last week where Davante Adams. Well, I guess in that week 3 game, right? So really start from the beginning. Week 3, Raiders lose to the Carolina Panthers. Everybody was shocked by it, right? They pull Bryce Young, they start Andy Dalton. Carolina goes in and it just beats down the Raiders. Antonio Pierce in his post-game presser says, you know what, there was a lot of players making business decisions.
Yes.
As a coach, I'm going to start making business decisions too. Following or next couple of practices go by and all of a sudden Davante Adams just pops up with a hamstring, which wasn't really talked about at all previously. So I don't necessarily know if those two things are linked or not. But essentially what happened was Adams doesn't play. They host the Cleveland Browns. They get a win without Davante Adams, without Max Crosby. They're 2-2. And after the game, or I think it was actually late last night, Antonio Pierce likes a picture on Instagram suggesting, or it was, so the post or the picture was a report from Michael Fabiano suggesting that Davante Adams has played his last snaps with the Las Vegas Raiders, and Pierce likes it late at night and just keeps it up. Which, dude, that's like, bro, talk about 2024. Like, you got a head coach like liking posts on Instagram. Crazy. It creates all this drama. But anyway, so he likes this post, and that was the end of it until this morning when it was blown up because Michael Fabiano saw that and then reposted that, hey, Antonio Pierce liked this. Yeah. So Adams goes on the K Adams show and is like, no, I haven't talked to anybody from the Raiders. I haven't talked to Antonio Pierce about it. And it just didn't really seem. And so Rodgers, I believe, was on the McAfee show. And, so it was a talking point there. And then later on in the day, Davante Adams requests a trade. Officially, right? Told the team I would prefer to be traded. So that's where we stand. Ian Rapoport, Adam Schefter, everybody's kind of on top of it. They're throwing at different teams, different suitors. I mean, we've seen tons of names getting mentioned. Washington, the Jets, the Steelers, the Chiefs, the Bills, the Saints, lots of different teams. But, obviously a lot to kind of wrap your head around, man. A lot of news. What's kind of your initial takeaway?
Well, it was only a matter of time before this was going to happen. Everybody knew Davante Adams wanted out, but he's trying to be the true team player, like not give up on his team and do all this. He got paid all the money. But it was like once a losing started, he wasn't getting these numbers. You knew he was going to be disgruntled. So this is no surprise, right? We kind of all expected it. The Jets are the obvious link with the ties to Aaron Rodgers. And it's serious when the compensation packages are already being announced. Like they want a second rounder. They want this. Josina Anderson's talking about what teams want, what the money want, the salary cap implications. So it's a matter of who's going to make the power move for him? So to me, wipe out the Chiefs. He's not going to go in the division. Don't think that's going to happen. Yep. Honestly, I think their preference is the NFC. Like the Commanders makes a lot of sense to me. But if you're Joe Douglas, who was big fish hunting in the offseason, he made a play for Justin Jefferson. He may try to make all these big moves or showed interest, right? So this falls right into the wheelhouse of what the Jets really need, especially after you see what we just saw on Sunday. Right now, the Jets, everybody's beating them down, picking on them, saying they're a mess, same old Jets, dysfunctional. The offense is as bad as it ever has. You watch receivers run wrong routes in the biggest spots of the game, the chemistry, the communication, all the things line up to chemistry, communication, need points, Davante Adams. It all points to him. And they can even afford him too, man, where you can trade for him, restructure his money, give him, upfront the bonus money, do all these different things. You can have him and Reddick at the same time. Not ideal. You can do all these things. It's a matter of, will the Jets give up the draft compensation to do it? And will they spend the money? That's a Woody Johnson question, actually, but that's where they're at, man. And to me, they're going to do it. They're going to make a big splash for it. And at this point, I genuinely don't care what they give up, because my negative, angry opinion right now is that this is Rodgers' last year in the NFL, or last year with the Jets. I think this year is going to take such a toll on him where he's either going to retire or pull a Brett Favre. So I'm going to give him every resource possible to try to win as many games as possible, and Davante Adams helps that. That's where I'm at. I don't care about draft compensation anymore. I don't care about money. I want this team to win games, and right now I'm very nervous about what they're doing. So do it. Don't care anymore.
So if news, let's just say, comes out tomorrow, right? The Jets trade a first-round pick and a late-round pick. You'd be okay with that?
A first? I mean, I don't think they have to give a first, dude. They got the third-round pick last year from the trade. Give them 2/3. Give them a second and a third. Like, I don't care. I mean, because I'm fearing a rebuild next year, so I want to just go this year and just all chips in here. Let's go for it. I don't know. I wouldn't do a first rounder, but I mean, if you're in a bidding war with, say, the Commanders, and they're offering that, I mean, can we offer players? Do you want to throw in a Corley? Do you want to throw in who can you add in instead of compensation? Would you throw in players? Would Reddick even be a factor? Would they even want him?
No, I don't. I think Reddick is completely off the table. I mean, unless the Raiders look at Reddick as a guy that they want to pay, because it's not, if they don't want to pay Reddick, what the hell is the point of acquiring him? Also, right. If you're moving off Davante Adams, you're moving off of like a 30-plus-year-old. You're clearing a bunch of money. Do you want to just, in other words, there's a lot of benefits from the Raiders side to move off of Adams. Yep. If you acquire Reddick, you're just inheriting another 30-plus-year-old who's going to cost a lot of money.
And Garrett Wilson can't be included. I'm not trading Garrett Wilson by no means at all. Absolutely. He's not part of it. You're talking about, to me, it's like mid-tier players. You want, like Corley, Gibson, whatever. I mean, you want to throw in Isaiah Davis, like somebody like that, completely cool with it. But I'm not giving up any key pieces to the team to get this guy. And I don't think you have to, but you have to give him somebody. The question is, what do they want? Like, what piece of your offense, would you give him Lazard? That doesn't make sense. I mean, right? Like, I don't know what they would take in return like that. Like, I saw a couple mentions in the chat where it's like a player. What player are you willing to give up?
It has to be a player of value, because there's no way the Raiders are just going to be like, yeah, let's do Reddick for Adams.
Right.
Or yeah, it's a weird spot, because it's like, I mean, first off, dude, I don't think the Raiders want a player. I think they want draft picks. I think they want to clear money. I mean, I guess in a perfect world, they probably want to keep Davante because he's a good player. It's not like the Raiders are 0-4. It's not like they suck.
I think the damage is done, man.
Yeah,
I mean, I know ideally they want to keep him. They're 2-2, and they want that's a big part of their team. They won without him. I think this has been in the works for a while now, where it's kind of like, I think he's been kind of working his way out silently, kind of waiting for this to happen. Now he has an opportunity he's taking advantage of. Like, you know what? I want out. They don't want me here. It's kind of like that. All he needed was that little Instagram, like, whoop, you know what? They don't like me here. I'm disrespected now. They don't want me. So now he's taking to his advantage now.
Dude, you know what's interesting is, like, I wonder what's actually happening, like, internally with the Raiders organization for Pierce to do that. Because, bro, imagine if Robert Saleh liked the picture suggesting Garrett Wilson played his last snaps with the Jets. Like, how massive of a storyline that would be. And, like, as Jets fans, right, the fans of the team that this is actually happening too.
Well,
It's
we
like,
had that.
what the heck is going on?
We had it with him and Joe Benigno last year when he said he didn't like Zach Wilson. We had that. We had the Saleh thing. Saleh's done his own stupid things. It just wasn't on social media. It was a big radio voice in New York, just as bad. But I'm waiting for the whole somebody took my phone, like Antonio Pierce. My son took my phone and liked it. Like I'm waiting for the whole backtrack. You know, the backtrack story is coming, man. There's no way he's gonna sit there as a head coach and be like, oh yeah, I like that. Like, no, my kid took my phone. He hit the button. I didn't pay attention. I didn't know about it till today. There's going to be some kind of story pulling this back. Right? There's no way they're going to leave that out there. Antonio Pierce has to answer about this.
Well, he could have, like, I think you could unlike on Instagram. I'm not super big on IG, so like, yeah. But I mean, from the Raiders' perspective, dude, honestly, I think Tom Telesco, the Raiders GM, is probably what's going through his mind right now is like, okay, we're 2-2. We have a lot of good players, but we have a lot of holes at the same time. We're kind of one of these top heavy rosters where we have a couple star players, a couple building blocks, but the roster bottoms out pretty quickly, and we don't have a quarterback. Long-term actual franchise quarterback. I like Minshew, but not for the next 5 years, obviously. So if you're in a position like this, chances are you're not going to be picking top 3 if the season just kind of plays out, because you have too much talent, and Pierce is also actively trying to win games. He's not trying to tank. Right. You know what I mean? So what's the other way to go get a top quarterback to trade up? So if you can move off of a 30-year-old, clear however much money, Davante's owed for the next couple of seasons, and you can get whatever it is, a second-round pick and a late-round pick, or a second and a 3 or a 3 and a 4, whatever it is. That's just extra ammunition that the Raiders can go target Shedeur Sanders or whoever it may be, whoever they want. Just extra picks in their back pocket. Because I mean, honestly, I guess I'll start. I'll ask you this. Why do you think Pierce liked the picture?
It could be a statement, but you know what,
Adams. Yeah. Sorry, I don't want to go off. Go ahead.
No, it could be a statement. It could be like, trying to expedite things. Like, you know what, this is like in the line. It's coming down anyway. Let's just kick it off and let's get it moving. Or he's front. Maybe things are happening behind the scenes that nobody knows about, where he's like, you know what, I'm done with this nonsense. Boop. Like, there's always two sides to every story, right? So it had to be something where he's at a breaking point where if you're a leader of your team, you can't have distractions. You don't want to disrupt the locker room. Kind of like Diggs in Buffalo. At some point, you're like, you know what, we love the player. Time to move on here. It's not going to work here. So it could be behind the scenes stuff where he's got really frustrated and said, you know what, let's do this. Let's, I don't care anymore. I'm over it. And knowing in the back of his mind that Davante Adams is out with a hamstring injury and he's probably going to be gone within the next week or so anyway.
Yeah. So, Rapoport did say that nothing's imminent.
Right.
I think what Tom Telesco is doing, I think he's sitting there. They put it out there.
Yep.
Davante, has requested a trade. So, yeah, I mean, we literally heard so many reporters throughout team after team, Steelers, Bills, Jets, Chiefs, all these different squads. The Vegas odds are already out. AIP, Saints incoming. I think Telesco is probably eating this up.
Yeah, well, dude,
if he has 10 teams on the line.
But think about how it went, though. It went from no interest in trading him whatsoever to there's a chance to actually the compensation is already being reported, like what they would take if he was going to be available. Like, it's going to happen fast, man, where it's like, nope, don't want him to. You don't want to have this drag out for a week, but the phone's blowing up right now where everybody's like, oh, second round pick, third round pick. I'll give you this. I'll give you that. Where it went from 0 to 100. And now it's like, how do you react to it? Teams are ready for it. The most important thing is what teams can afford it in terms of cap space. Okay. Will the Raiders eat some money in terms of, eat some money in the contract, but take better draft compensation? I think the Jets probably hope for, eat whatever $5 million. We'll give you an extra third round pick. You know how you kind of do that where you pay for your picks? Raiders may do that. So I think that's what it is. I think it's going to happen pretty fast, though. I think you'll probably within the next week, you would think. It's not going to drag out.
You think it'd be before the Vikings game or before this week's games or no? I think if anything, it'd be early next week, like Monday, Tuesday.
That could be. I think it's going to happen within a week. Absolutely. They don't want to drag it out. They want to move on, too. Because you're like, think about it. You have this distraction now in your locker room. It's going to be a bona fide distraction where every press conference has talked about it. The players are asked about it. It's like, just get it over with. If it's done, it's done. Now you get your best value you possibly can. You give all the teams a deadline. Give me your best offer by Thursday at 5 o'clock. At that point, we're deciding we're moving on. Done. There you go.
Hmm. It's interesting, man. I mean, because you can just playing devil's advocate here. You can, if you put yourself in the shoes of the Raiders, you can say, all right, well, if this guy's literally a top receiver in football, there's a ton of teams that have interest. We prefer to trade him to the NFC,
Yep.
and there's going to be multiple NFC teams, interested, along with a potential division rival in the Chiefs and the Bills and the Jets, and all these different squads, Steelers, all these teams that have pressure on them, all these teams that have playoff expectations.
Mm-hmm.
If let's just say the Raiders hang on to Adams and just, obviously I don't want this to happen, but let's just say George Pickens gets hurt for the Steelers. Now all of a sudden Pittsburgh might be like, you know what? Screw it. Let's just dump the first round pick. We were already trying to get Ayuk. Let's just go, trade the first rounder for freaking Adams now, because now we don't have Pickens. So the Raiders they're in admittedly a good position to where they have a high end commodity. They have one of the best players in football, a legit superstar, and they're dangling him out there, and they're saying, "Hey, he's requested a trade. He doesn't want to be here. We're 2-2. We're not tanking or anything,
Right?
But we're going to be fine without him. Give us your best offers. Come calling." So I don't know, man. I think.
But I think it's also what return they get too. Say they make a trade with whoever, say with the Commanders, and they get a receiver in return. Right now, you have a player that's disgruntled and not playing. If you make the trade and get a receiver in return, whoever it is, not going to be the same player, same talent, but at least another piece to your puzzle, at least fix the rest of the year. You also get that too. So it could be like, you know what I mean? It depends on what you're getting in return. If you're only getting draft compensation, you can wait because it's not really impact this year. You know what I mean? Like you're not getting any return next game day. But if you're going to get back players that can actually help you today or tomorrow that are healthy, maybe it expedites things a little bit.
Yeah, I think the Jets is like that's the interesting team here. Not of course, right, because we're fans of them, but because of the Hackett, because of the Rodgers connection.
Because of the situation they're in. Let's just call it what it is. They're desperate. They need to win a lot of games this year. And they look terrible on Sunday on offense with a lot of concerns. So now you have your entire fan base pissed off, the media pissed off, and a tremendous amount of pressure to win the next 2 games or play very well. Because if not, somebody could get fired and should be fired. So what do? You calm everybody down, especially with the Reddick thing hanging out there, still not resolved, which is ridiculous. So they have a lot of bad things going on right now. You know how you quiet everybody up? You make a power move for a great player that should help fix a lot of issues very quickly. That's how you do it. You can't worry about money, draft picks, all this. Win now. It's a must move. Imagine he goes, say, to the Bills. The Jets look like idiots with his all-time favorite quarterback. So the only thing that would be the saving grace if he goes to the Commanders or the Saints. They wanted him out of the AFC. Jets tried, they couldn't get him. They were close to Tyreek Hill. They're always close. You can't be close this time. This is a must. It literally is, because you're struggling and you can't afford to keep losing games like they lost on Sunday. You can't. Your timeline is too small now.
Yeah, dude, it's actually a really, really, really good point about just kind of the optics of the situation, right? Because like I would argue whether the Jets have a bottom 5 offense, whether the Jets have a top 5 offense, we would still give up a high price to go get Adams. So now it's almost like it's not only that we just want Davante, but we actually might need Davante based off of what we saw against Denver, because that was just flat out just inexcusable. But Dante, bro, I appreciate the $10, man. Thank you so much. If JD wants to impress me, have the mentality of the Rams GM. Yeah, pretty much exactly what Tyson was just saying. To hell with the picks and go all in. Apologize and sign Reddick. Trade for Adams and do more moves to prove you're all in. Yeah, I mean we've seen the Dolphins kind of have this approach too. Like Bradley Chubb, we want him. Jalen Ramsey, we want him. Tyreek Hill, Taron Armstead, like doesn't matter what it costs, compensation, contract, whatever. Trading away first round picks, like we're gonna go get stars. This to me, man, the Davante. I don't want to sit here and sound arrogant or cocky, but it feels like if Adams is gonna get traded, the Jets are not going to be, coming up short.
Now, the one thing is, it's usually where Joe Douglas draws a line in the sand where he gets kind of arrogant and stubborn, like, you know what, I'm not going past this, take it or leave it. I think he's on the hot seat too, man, where I think there's a lot of pressure on the Jets to get this done. I mean, can you imagine the backlash if they don't get this done, where pretty much everybody expects it, where Rodgers has been hinting at it, Davante's been hinting at it, Everybody, it's like this has been a story for a year. The trade deadline last year, just tried to trade for him. They couldn't because, Josh McDaniels was in the way. So now it's like, it just seemed like it all makes sense. Now it comes to Woody Johnson putting up some money and give up compensation. And you have to, dude. Like, I love the idea of it because based on what I saw last week, because the Garrett Wilson thing is concerning me now. Watching how the offense play concerned me. When talking about chemistry and route running and figuring out the offense, we genuinely don't have time for this. You don't. You're already 4 games into the season, man. You gotta adjust and improvise and find ways to win games as fast as possible to keep up with the Ravens and the Bills and the Chiefs and everybody else.
Dude, another point, man, with this whole Davante Adams thing. The one thing I do like about Adams is that he does. You get the sense that he's not a diva with like, oh, I want more yards, I want more catches. It seems like winning is the number one top priority with him. And I feel as though the New York Jets lack a ton of leadership, accountability, and discipline.
1,000%.
And Aaron Rodgers is the go-to guy. Like he's the leader. He's the face of this organization. He, to me, has more leadership than Saleh and Hack and all these guys
combined.
And Davante Adams feels like if he was a Jet, he'd be right there, number 2. Like players would have, I don't want to say maybe more respect, but like if you're Garrett Wilson, you're gonna listen to Davante Adams more than Nathaniel Hackett, in my opinion. It's a complete assumption, but
no, you're 100% right. Right now, what Aaron Rodgers is being asked to do, it's something we talked about the entire offseason, was he has to overcome a limited coaching staff. He has to overcome a lack of accountability. He has to overcome a lack of leadership. He has to overcome all these things by himself. And now he's got to try to open up this offense. And now Garrett Wilson's, frustrated and they can't pick things up. Davante Adams comes in and knows the routes. He knows how to do it. He'll literally show Garrett Wilson, this is what you should be doing right here. One of the best in the game. This is what you should be doing. I'm going to show you how to do it. You can sit back and watch and learn from me, and let's go. Right? And then it's more credibility in the locker room, more proven guys. Right now, Alan Lazard, a little bit of Mike Williams, but Alan Lazard's been your leader because he knows Rodgers so well. That's why he's become the safety blanket for him, because he trusts him. That whole trust thing is big because right now you saw he doesn't trust Gibson or Wilson at this point. They don't know where the hell they're even running to. So it's big, man. Leadership is big, especially when, like, we can talk about it real quick, but Saleh's comments to me about the cadence. Like, Rodgers is your only guy in the locker room everybody looks up to on offense, where they're like, this is our guy, this is our leader, this is our face of the franchise. You start questioning him, you're lost as a head coach. You're a complete clown at this point. Then you had to backtrack. You bring in Davante Adams, a second voice of reason, a second powerful leader. It all moves forward more because you don't see from Brees, you don't see from Garrett, you don't see from the young guys, man. You need Tyron Smith help, but you need more like flash players, like star players, to have that voice to lead this young team in a better direction.
Yeah, I mean the Jets have a couple leaders, right? Like Mosley, Quinnen, Tyron Smith, but it's clear, dude. Aaron Rodgers is the top voice in the organization, man. Yep. Like he can, like, I get the sense that it's like he can tell Joe Douglas, go sign this player right now, 100%. And the Jets are going to go do it. If Saleh says that to Douglas, it's like we'll get around to it, like maybe. If Rodgers tells Hackett, Saleh, no, dump that, we're not doing it, they're not going to do it. So I think Davante again would slide right into that kind of, right hand, if you will, that number 2, the Robin to the Batman, as far as just leadership. Like, no, I've been in the playoffs. I have 13 win seasons. I'm one of the best players in the league. Let's roll.
No, yeah, and they need it. Like, it's just desperate times, desperate measures. The key to success in the NFL is identifying your shortcomings and fixing them as soon as possible without arrogance and without being stubborn. The Jets, you're not in a position right now, like, to be like kind of, like, oh, conservative. Go big, man. Go big, swing big. This is your window with Aaron Rodgers. You can't play small ball now. You can't.
Yeah. So certified hater, man. I appreciate the 5, bro. Thank you. Really means a lot. Oh boy, I'm so glad we drafted Braylon Allen for the short yardage situations, especially when we have the ball on the other team's 1 yard line. Yeah, dude. That we're gonna dive into the Denver Bronco game here in a little bit, but the Davante Adams stuff is, in my opinion, super positive, and I didn't want to come right out of the gate with a bunch of negativity, which was the Broncos game.
No, and the thing is too is like, I'm sorry to cut you off, but into the chat right there. The Jets need to sell tickets, man. This is a high-profile team. Woody Johnson is about selling out the stadium, selling tickets, selling jerseys, everything else. That's another thing they can't do right now, because right now fans are pissed off. You bring in Davante Adams, you put like deodorant on the stench of your team, and everybody's kind of inspired to get, I want to go see him play. I want to go see that. Like, it makes dollars and cents for this team. It really does on so many levels that if it doesn't happen, you're like, all right, are you truly all in, Woody Johnson? Are you truly all in, Joe Douglas? Or are you selling us nonsense again? Right? Like, you've talked big. They've literally talked big the entire offseason. We're ready to make a big splash move. They hinted at things that didn't happen, though. Here's your chance. Prove it now.
Yeah, so Mitt, bro, dude, thanks a lot, man. You did not have to do that. We need an X wide receiver. Adams at X, Mike Williams at Z, and Garrett in the slot. We need to utilize G-Dub on the in the freaking slot as Hackett dumb. I think Garrett in the slot would be flat out awesome.
Yep.
You know, like thinking about Garrett Wilson, like one-on-one man coverage against slot corners in football. Not a lot of guys can hang with him. I probably like 2 or 3.
Yeah, and then you have the big,
you want to include Michael Carter, you know.
You put the big guys on the outside. You have the size on the outside. You have the speed and the quickness on the inside. You have a lot of versatility then, and it probably give Garrett Wilson a whole new life, man. Like a breath of fresh air for him, where he can like just shine and be productive and have a huge impact on the game because he's not having it now.
Yeah, almost like a Jarvis Landry in Miami, like when Landry like was first drafted like out of LSU, and he was putting up like X receiver numbers out of the slot.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's the type of impact that Wilson could have, dude.
1,000.
And you got to figure too, Davante. I don't even know if I want to bring up this point, but I was going to say, like, Davante's should take some of the pressure off of Garrett, but you know, I feel like every time we say that, it's not backed up, right? Mike Williams should be taking pressure off of Garrett. Braylon Allen should, right? Malachi Corley should. It's not happening. So,
can I respond to that?
Yeah, hit me.
Do you know why?
Do I know why what?
That Garrett Wilson, those things aren't happening where Mike Williams takes the pressure off Garrett Wilson and Braylon Allen's not doing this. Do you know why it's happening?
Well, Garrett's still the number one pass catcher on this football team. I would say maybe right next to Brees as far as number one playmaker. So he's still being identified by defenses as the go-to option to slow down. But to me, go ahead.
It's play calling, man. It's play calling. Nate Hackett's lost. Like, the play calling was horrendous on Sunday. It made no sense whatsoever. No matter what situation, it made no sense. They were thoroughly outcoached, underprepared, and they do not maximize their resources on offense. There's absolutely no way you can say, look at their game plan. Like, you know what? We're putting everybody in the best position to succeed. There's no way you can say it with Nate Hackett. It's impossible. And the reason, Garrett Wilson's got a lot of good coverages. So what? There's great receivers all across the NFL that are great, that are still getting their yards and points every friggin' week. What? But the Jets, no, we can't do it, man. He's covered. Can't do it. Nope. How about this? How about you scheme guys open? How about you get creative? How about you change it up for once and stop making excuses? The Jets lead the league in one thing: justifying poor performances. That's what they do. Seriously, how does every other team find ways to get open? Like, you watch the Bills and Ravens, it's like the Jets played a whole different sport, right? You watch their offenses up and down the field, fast guys, explosive, high-flying plays. What are we doing?
Dude, I could tell you're ready to explode, and we're saving the rant. We're saving the rants to the back half of the pod, man.
Because we look at it, like, you need to use your resources. So the point, like, we all love Garrett Wilson. We love him, but we're just not. And it's like everybody's now discounting him. He's still a great player. They're just not using him correctly, and they're not finding ways to get him open. And that's on the offensive coordinator. And you know, it's on the head coach too. He's part of the offense now. He's more involved. You got to figure it out, man.
So, Mitch, what's going on, bro? Thank you so much, dude. We have weapons. We have weapons that this trash OC can't get creative with. As it is with Adams, can he change how the coaches run this embarrassing offense? We need better play calling, or it's the same thing. You know, ultimately, man. Like, first off, thanks again. But is it a stretch to say that the Jets have the worst offensive staff in the league? No. I don't think there's a team out there in football that can say, you know what, our coaches collectively are worse.
Yeah, I mean,
and I'm talking about just the offensive side here. You know, of course, you know, like we do have some solid coaches on the defensive side of the football. But dude, offensively, man, there's questions about Todd Downing. There's questions about having an actual quarterback coach, because Todd Downing got promoted to quarterback coach. There's questions about Hackett, his play calling, his game planning. Yep. There's questions about Keith Carter and the offensive line, which was just looked confused. I saw a lot of people kind of complaining about Olu. Olu was playing out of position.
Bingo.
He's a left tackle. But again, let me save that Denver Broncos stuff because we're gonna have a whole session, a whole like rant session on it. But Match, bro, I appreciate you, man. I agree. I think it's safe to say that Hackett's the worst OC in football.
But I do think that Adams gives him somebody he trusts, somebody knows the offense, where he can throw the ball to a spot and know he's going to be there. So I think that's really important too, where you can, he has Lazard, he has Adams. Like, all right, two guys, I know what they're doing, and now Garrett Wilson can learn from him. That definitely helps a bit.
Yeah. So, Mike, question: who would be moved? Because I see a hard time seeing Lazard and Williams being third. So, like my assumption would be Garrett gets, I guess, down regulated to the slot.
Mm-hmm.
Adams comes in as the true number one guy. Mike Williams is just Mike Williams. He's going to just stick in his normal role.
Yeah.
Alan Lazard would have a really a diminished role, but would probably be that go-to fourth option. Gibson relegated to probably not even having much of an impact at all. And then that trickles down to Corley. Does he even get in the game? I mean, he's not even getting in the game. Bro, Corley has 2 offensive snaps. I'll save it for the Denver rant, but dude, I got so many gripes about that Denver game. But I mean, that's the thing, dude. Like, a part of me, like half of me is like, we invested in offensive weapons. The O-line is better. We have an emerging back in Braylon Allen, who a lot of Jets fans thought he was going to be this good, but from a national media perspective, like I personally didn't think he was going to look this good to where NFL stud linebackers can't even bring him down on first contact, and he's trucking guys over like easily.
Yep.
So we have all these different things: Moses, Simpson, Mike Williams, Corley, Braylon. We have a healthy Rodgers. We have Garrett. We have Brees, and it's like our offense puts up nine points. Would Davante help? 1,000%, dude. 1,000%. Nobody's doubting that. But a part of me is just like, we have a pretty good like core of offensive skill players. Can we like try to make it work with them? Like I don't know. Garrett had some. I guess we could also talk about Garrett Wilson's like frustrated comments that he had today too.
Yeah.
I was going to do a video on it tomorrow morning, but basically he's frustrated with how the offense has looked, as is the rest of the Jets fandom. I mean, it's just inexcusable, and right, give Denver credit. They're a top 10 defense and they came to play. But I mean, again, a part of me, man, like we have a lot of offensive talent and we're just simply not getting them the ball, whether it's the players, whether it's the play calls, whether it's the game plan, whatever it is, it's not working. And again, Adams would help, but man, we're leaving a lot of points on the board.
When Aaron Rodgers has more rushing yards than Breece Hall, it's a problem. That's the problem right there. Like it's just a weird dynamic on this offense where you have no faith in them maximizing their resources. You really don't. It's ridiculously frustrating. And Garrett Wilson's very frustrated because they lost the game. He's not putting up big numbers. And you're watching Malik Neighbors across town with the Giants put up huge numbers and become the talk of New York. So, but there's a lot of things that go into this facet here, especially with a star player. Neighbors is lighting it up here. And now Garrett's like
Daniel Jones, too.
Exactly. So now you're like, how does that happen when the teams know the Giants are going to go to Neighbors? They know where the ball is going to go. He's getting open. Brian Daboll's doing a really good job of scheming guys open. What is Hackett doing? And that is a concern. You can say that for a lot of players. What are they doing with Conklin? What are they doing with Braylon Allen? Like, there's so many questions coming out of the game where you're like, what did they do for 10 days? Like, what did they actually do in practice? What was their game plan going into it? They weren't prepared for the blitz. They knew they were going to get blitzed. They weren't prepared for that. The offensive line looked confused. The receivers looked confused. So now it makes you ask a lot of questions, man.
Gosh, there's a lot that I want to say. Man, first off, thank you so much, bro, for the 5. Feels like deja vu watching the channel with the Tyreek Hill rumors back in the day. Yeah, the only difference with the Tyreek Hill thing was that when that news broke, it was Jets Dolphins, 2 teams just took off in a race. With this, it definitely feels like the Jets have the upper hand. I don't want to jinx it. Let me knock on wood. But it kind of feels like it's the Jets, and then we have like 10 other teams behind the Jets:
Yeah.
Washington, the Saints, Steelers, Bills, Chiefs, all these different teams. I think it's probably going to be New York 1. I would guess Saints probably 2, but I mean the Saints have their own financial kind of I guess issues. Like every year with them, they have to say goodbye to good homegrown players because they of all these contracts that they have to keep pushing into the future. But Davante Adams fits that system to a T with Clint Kubiak. Obviously, they really could use that X receiver like we were talking about before. He'd help out Shaheed and Olave. Derek Carr obviously is his boy. And then Washington, bro. I want to say they're the surprise of the league. If you put, you talk about giving your young quarterback some damn help.
Yeah. That would be a big splash, man, especially with him. The other thing, too, with Davante Adams, it's like a 1-year rental, too. It's not like you're committed for 3 years. It could literally be a 1-year rental. It comes for next year. He has no guaranteed money the next 2 years after this. So it's not like, Tyreek Hill was a long-term investment. That was like a big mega contract you have to give. It's not that case for the Jets either, though. So you missed a couple good super chats. I think you're ignoring them on purpose, man, because they're negative. Is that what you're trying to do? Because I know they're going to rile me up.
No, so what, bro? And by the way, first of all, no pressure to super chat.
No, that's whatever.
Yeah, no, don't feel the need to send in money or anything. But what I do, bro. So on StreamYard, it the comment section automatically jumps up. So I have to manually keep it paused.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't just, so I'm not losing comments. So I'm always way behind. Like right now, I'm looking at this, the comments from 7:28 p.m.
Oh yeah, I'm way. I blew past you.
Let's see.
I thought you were ignoring my purpose because they're gonna round me up. You're trying to save the hostilities.
No, let's see. I mean, I guess we can. I guess yeah. All right. So let's just kind of close with the Davante Adams kind of final thoughts.
Yeah.
Where do you think he's going? Do you think he's going to get traded? How much do you think he's going to go for? Kind of your final prediction.
Go big, man. Swing big with this one. The Jets, go get it done. I think it's all there for you. It makes so much sense on so many different levels. I'm not worried about money. I'm not worried about compensation. No first round pick. I don't think the player compensation is going to be crazy either. You want to throw in Corley? Cool. Don't care about that. Just get it done. Desperate times, desperate measures. That's my approach right now. Because my fear is this is Rodgers last year. So give him the best chance to possibly win because next year we could have a whole new situation to be dealing with.
And it's cool too because from what we know, from the public perspective, Adams is not. It feels like the Tyreek Hill situation. By that I mean there's not some weird, like Reddick situation in Philly where there's an issue and he's being traded because there's this massive issue. It's like, no, you know what? Moving off of Adams could actually benefit this team in other ways, potentially helping out in the draft and clearing money and whatnot.
Yeah.
And bro, to be honest with you, just calling it like it is, the Raiders offense looked okay without him. They survived without Davante Adams, but
yeah, it's a win for both sides. If it's a distraction and a problem, they move on. The Jets get what they need, and both teams leave satisfied.
So, certified hater, man, thank you again. Glad we had 10 days to prepare to put up 9 points against the almighty Bo Nix-led Broncos. Yeah, Salah just has to figure out disciplining his guys in year 4. I think one thing that really, really got to me, man, was in the post-game presser, right after the game, when Salah was talking about the extra days not really mattering. I'm like, dude, you got it. Would Andy Reid have that approach? Would John Harbaugh or Sean McDermott have this approach? Dan Campbell? No, dude. Come on, man. Every day matters. Every day is, if you got 9-10 days to prepare, when the opposition has 6 from a coaching standpoint, they're not on the field.
The home game, it's just, and the thing is, where Salah has a problem is this has happened before. This isn't like a first time thing, a one-off time thing. This has happened many times before where you're like, I've seen this before. As the game was playing out, I'm like, this was the Giant game last year, but they actually lost it this time because they didn't want DeVito to throw the ball. They didn't want Bo Nix to throw the ball, right? It was the same rainy. Everything was the same, but they lost this one. It was ugly, man. But I hate, the more Salah talks, the more I think he's talking himself out of a job. He really is, because he's digging holes for himself, because now we have receipts of all the times this team underachieved. and he tried to use excuses. Now his excuses are coming back to haunt him. So it's not pretty, man.
I mean, dude, if you want to talk about like excuses, this Jets regime has used, they've exhausted every one, right? Oh, well, we're rolling out a rookie quarterback, or, oh, rookie coach and Robert Saleh. Oh, it was Mike LaFleur's fault. Oh, no, Rodgers getting hurt. His team was horrible, when we first took over. Every excuse is gone, dude.
Every one of them.
Joe Douglas, I believe, is 28-57 as general manager. Saleh's 30 and I actually don't know what Saleh's record is off the top of my head.
20 and 35?
Something like that. Yeah. Something bad. Dante, dude, thank you so much, bro. It means a lot. I have a question. Why is Saleh getting a lot of the heat compared to Hackett? He calls the offense. He doesn't have enough. He doesn't have enough sense to put Allen in short yardage situation. Also, this team better not trade Wilson. Yeah, 100%. If the New York Jets trade Garrett Wilson to the Raiders for Davante Adams, I will be pissed.
Yep.
I will seriously be pissed. I love Adams, right? Obviously, but I'm not trading Garrett Wilson away. I'm not doing that. And I think, by the way, if that happens, Raiders fans would be like the happiest, like the happiest fan base. Like, you're getting like a freaking guy that's like on the precipice of being like an actual, star in the league. But yeah, so as far as the question, man, why is Saleh getting a lot of heat? Because he's the head coach. I understand that Hackett calls the offense, but that's the reason why Hackett calls the offense is because Saleh has no understanding of the offense. There's nothing that he can really contribute.
Well, I mean, it's twofold. It's the team looked unprepared. They were thoroughly outcoached. And Saleh told us all that he's now more actively involved in the offense. And the one thing is, all right, so you can't blame everything on Hackett because Saleh hears the play calls. On 3rd and 1, he could be like, give the ball to Braylon Allen. Or somebody be like, all right, the first didn't work. Put Braylon Allen in the game and run the friggin' football. Like, he has to have it actively involved as a head coach. Be like, you know what? This isn't working. Let's change it out. And my point is always this. When things are going bad, do you ever see him leave the sideline and go talk to the guys on offense, go talk to the offensive line, go talk to the receiver, go talk to whoever, like, all right, what are you seeing? What's going wrong? Like, be like more hands-on? Or is he just sitting there in a headset just talking and yelling out orders to everybody? What is he doing? But he takes the blame because we've seen this performance before. And Hackett gets plenty of blame. Hackett's just pure incompetent because what you're seeing on offense now is horrendous. Like, the receivers are lost, the offensive line is lost, and now for a while it was we don't have the talent. Now you have the talent, you're not coaching the talent. So they're both at fault. But Saleh takes a huge hit now because you're running out of, like you said before, he's running out of excuses. There's no more left for him. And you're seeing the same thing. You're seeing a Zach Wilson offense when Aaron Rodgers leading it. And that's inexcusable, man.
It really is. It's one thing if we're the Panthers. It's one thing if, we're the Giants and we have one weapon and we have to like make it work with, whatever it is, practice squad players or late round picks or something. Dude, we got freaking talent on this team, man. Yeah. Mike Williams, I mean, we can go down the list. Like, we've beaten it to death, dude. But this team has so many playmakers.
But dude, I watch your preview. Like, everybody does preview videos, and we break it down. Like, you know what? If they're gonna take Garrett Wilson out, you feature Mike Williams more. You use Conklin over the middle. You do some of the things you did in the Patriot game. You got to change things up. You got to be more creative. You got to use more motion. Do all these different things, and they don't do any of it. You see no creativity whatsoever. We talked about pass first, set up the run. They didn't do that. It was run, 3rd and long pass. They knew you literally knew the Broncos were going to blitz. That's their mojo. That's what they do. They look unprepared for that. The offensive line was like, oh, where's this coming from? It's just those kind of things drive you insane where you don't feel like you have a properly coached team. You do, and the roster, the use of the Braylon Allen makes no sense to me, man. I just don't understand it. I wonder if this is going to come off really negative, but I'll kind of explain it. I wonder if they catered to Breece Hall's feelings a lot, where to me, Breece Hall seems like he's either injured, something's up. He seemed completely off on Sunday. And as an organization, you got to understand in-game adjustments. You have to listen, today's not your best day. It sucks. But you know what? Our goal is to win football games. And Braylon Allen gave him a boost every time. He always runs forward. The pile always moves. There are always positive yards there. So in-game, you got to listen, Breece, we love you, man. But right now, we got to go with the hot hand because we got to win the football game. That's our goal. And sometimes I think Saleh caters. He's too loyal to his stars or to his veteran players, and it's not what's best for the team. We've seen it on many different. Like you saw it last year, when they won't pull out guys that are struggling, like Dwayne Brown or whoever else, Mekhi Becton. Like they're so like, no, that's our guy. You can't be stubborn like that. And I think that's something that really they struggle with.
Dude, Braylon Allen, the offense was just moving with Braylon Allen in the game. Breece Hall, I would go as far as to say, had his worst game of his NFL career, man. 4 yards on the ground over 10 carries, 2 pre-snap penalties.
Yep.
He had one blitz. I don't know if it was a blitz pickup or he was just trying to chip, and he just let the guy go right by him, and Rodgers just gets sacked. Like, it was just a bad sack.
What about that pat? He alligator armed that one pass. Was a third quarter, fourth quarter. That was a true decision. Like, you know what? I'm good on this one. I'm like, that's not what you're looking for out of him, man.
Yeah, he had 2. I think he had 2 drops in week 1.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's weird. You know, I'm not going to sit here and write Breece off. He's still a damn good player. But again, I mean, I'll say this. It's hard to judge players when this is the offensive staff.
That's a very fair point. When you're fighting for every yard, but even like Tiki Barber did a breakdown where like the players were there, and Breece is making the wrong decisions, like the wrong cutback, the wrong read, all this. So then you're like, is he studying the playbook? I love Breece. Like, we're talking about having an all-pro year, one of the best running backs in football, and you're not seeing that explosiveness, that nastiness, like that extra drive, and so which is fine. Maybe he's figuring something out. Maybe he's injured for all we know. But as a coaching staff, you got to recognize him. Like, okay, Braylon Allen, next man up. We have to do what's working for us because the team sees it too. The players see it. If Breece is struggling, why is he still in the game? Like, why is he still here? If this guy's always committing penalties, why is he still in the game? Like, that's the accountability factor that Rodgers always talks about that sometimes you just don't see from the coaching staff.
Yeah, dude. I mean, Hall never had this issue at Iowa State.
No.
I watched every Iowa State game in his last, I want to say 3 years there. And he never, there was never a question about this stuff where it's just, I mean, because you could point to like, Breece, because how many times you see like a running back false starting multiple times, So again, dude, like it's hard to judge player. Like if Sean McVay was our coach, if whatever, take your pick of any random like above average offensive mind and just stick them on this Jet squad, you're thinking bare minimum 21 points, 24 points. Bare minimum. That's like at our worst. Aaron Rodgers, again, we could go down the list of all these. I mean, we're competent at literally every position, man. We don't, because in years past, we've looked at the roster and said, you know what, interior O-line, right? That was the big thing with like end of the Todd Bowles era, Adam Gase era. Like we were okay at tackle, but it's, man, we just, like the GVR days and stuff, like, man, we just didn't really have a solid inside. And then it shifts like, okay, now we really need tackles. Oh, we really need depth for our young, quarterback, whether it's the end of Sam Darnold or the start of Zach Wilson. And it's we're at a point now where we finally, dude, there's millions and millions of dollars invested in this team. There's first round picks riddled everywhere.
Yep.
Draft classes loaded in. No more. This team has the offensive talent. So when the team has talent like this, man, it's just disappointing when, and look, I don't mean to keep on ranting here. And by the way, Braylon, yeah, dude, he reminds me of Brandon Jacobs too. Dude's a beast. He runs hard. But even if we would have lost the Broncos game, but it looked like Bama Georgia the other night, I'm not saying I'd be cool with it, but I wouldn't be as heated. I'm watching this team just, and again, no disrespect to Denver. They handled business. They won the game. But, I mean, you have 10 days to prepare at home against a rookie quarterback who had negative passing yards at halftime, and you lose 10-9. Yep. There's some questions there, right? It was not back and forth. It was not a clean game. There were penalties all around. The O-line was confused. Rodgers missed some throws. He made some awesome throws. He kept us in the game. But lots of questions. Wide receiver confusion, play calling confusion, game plan obviously was in question. So I don't know, man. It's really, for me, hard to judge the players when this is the staff.
When you see the team self-destruct with 13 penalties for 90 yards, all the pre-snap penalties, even Tyron Smith's getting pre-snap penalties. Like, how is that happening? Like, you see it, and you see, all I see is like they're underachieving, and you see a lot of incompetence. And that's all you keep thinking about. You just don't see they're not playing to their potential. And then when, like, I like to watch like Brian Baldinger and guys break down film. He literally broke it down like, what in the hell are the Jets doing here? Like, what is this offense? Like, even he's saying it, and he works for the Jets at times. He goes on their scene, he helps out all their videos and stuff. Like, it's just you don't get that good feeling that they're well coached. And we've had that feeling in the past. And we went into the season saying this, Ian. We talked about it. You guys are too negative. We were hoping that Aaron Rodgers can overcome our concerns with the coaching staff and kind of smooth things out. Even out the play calling, make the routes a little crisper, hold this team a little more accountable to clean up a lot of mistakes. And then we saw on Sunday, even he can't do that because you saw how frustrated he was. He was taking huge shots. And then you go into the play calls, like the third and goal line situation, the 3rd and 1 late in the game that he got sacked and then he fumbled and he got hit and he got hurt. Like all these things, you're like, there's so many things going wrong here. It's like spiraling. And it's just concerning. It really is. And I get, like you said, you respect the Broncos, but they thoroughly outcoached the Jets. They danced all over them. And that makes you even madder because while the Broncos are good, what about these top teams in the AFC? How you even you want to compete with them and you can't even handle this little kind of success or challenge. It's tough, man.
Yeah, man. So Jets Unleashed, it doesn't matter if we get Adams, if we can't set our players up for success. I agree. The only thing though is that Adams is a vet and Adams knows Rodgers, and you kind of, at least for me, you kind of get the kind of like the Anthony Davis, LeBron James, like, you know what? It doesn't matter who else is on the team. We're going to try to do our best to just carry the team forward. And if it comes down to it, just throw it my way, Aaron. He knows how to, just pinpoint a pass, and I know exactly where I need to be. So if all else fails and we're getting these, crap calls, crap game plan, everybody, penalties all around, just throw it my way. So that's my only hope. If, of course, we acquire him.
But to me, and again, I know I'm coming off ridiculously negative. I've been pissed off since Sunday because I don't want another wasted season. I don't want a lost opportunity. But just the answer for Corley drove me absolutely insane. You watch this offense go stuck in mud. Gibson's not really achieving anything, not really doing anything. You have this kid you drafted. That was the guy they wanted the most. Oh, Corley's our guy, Yak King guy. Why isn't he playing? Well, you know what? There's guys ahead of him. There's guys that are ahead of him. He's not really getting there yet. It reminds me of last year when they couldn't figure out what Breece Hall can do until week 10. There's no role for Corley when you could do absolutely nothing on offense, right? Put Corley and Brown out in the backfield at the same time. One guy, you could do so many different things with him. Do a sweep, do anything to try to change things up. And they can't find a spot for Corley to play in this game. It's wild to me, man.
Yeah, dude, go put Corley on the Rams. Go put him on any team that has a competent.
It's not like Gibson has 25 catches and 500 yards right now. I'm not even hating on Gibson, but just the goal is to keep testing things out until something works. You can't be so stubborn and arrogant. This is our scheme. These are our players. No, you keep changing it, man. And once you find that spark plug, you keep using it. And they seem like they're so stuck in their ways, like an old school mentality that doesn't work.
Yeah, Ruben. So it's very rare for a franchise to win something with incompetent leaders, and we have bad owner, bad coaching, and a suspect GM. I mean, that kind of goes back to a question that me and you would talk about all the time last season, where it's in preparation for having playoff expectations, it's kind of okay, do you trust Saleh, Hackett, and Ulbrich to outcoach Reed, Zach Taylor, both Harbaughs now, McDermott, Tomlin, D'Amico Ryan? That's 7 coaches, dude. I didn't even fully break down the NFL. Sorry, not the NFL, the AFC fully. Sean Payton, and we blew it last year against Antonio Pierce and the Raiders. Stefanski and the Browns. I don't know, but it's tough, right? When you drop these random regular season games where the team is just flat and confused, and it just is it's just not a well-coached team. And you can see the difference between well-coached teams, right? The teams that maybe don't have enough talent, but they're still everybody knows exactly where they need to be in given plays. There's not many penalties. There's not many self-inflicted errors. With whatever it may be, dropped passes, fumbles, errant throws, missed assignments on the offensive line, guys dancing around behind the line of scrimmage, afraid to just, get north and south.
But to me, it's a culture and a mindset. I wish the Jets took the approach they took against the Patriots versus the Broncos. Like we're picking on the offense. The offense was completely dreadful, but the defense, even though Bo Nix only had 60 yards passing, the defense didn't come out aggressive either. I'm like, I would have blitzed the brakes off this kid, smacked him around, beat him up, generate turnovers, like knock him out, like do different things. Like they didn't even do that. They kind of were just like back to that same old solid defense where, and I thought at halftime, you got to be more aggressive. And then when they weren't, they ran the ball down our throats. Like they literally melted in the second half where they gave up points where they knew the Broncos could only run the ball. They were running it right up the middle at them, and they didn't adjust to that. So even the defensive plan, they almost seemed like they were just very arrogant, where we're going to walk on the field and we're going to be great and we're going to win this game. We don't need to be coached up. We don't need, we're the Jets. We're here and we're going to win. And it didn't happen like that. If they came out aggressive in the first half, they could have probably blown out the Broncos. They could have probably blown them out. They really could have. But they were so timid and conservative, and it's preparation, it's mindset, it's approach. And we've seen it before. That's the biggest thing. That's why I'm so mad. It's not a one-off. It's happened before.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, man, it kind of looked like Bo Nix couldn't even grip the football in the rain in the first half. Even like the TD pass to Sutton, it was like
it was
barely.
It was airborne.
Yeah. So, gosh, I mean, I think it's way too early to say, oh, the Jets are done or whatever. I mean, we're 2-2. It's not the end of the world. I think, I'll say I think we have a shot to beat Minnesota. I really don't feel as though, they have way too much talent in us. In respect to them, they're undefeated. They're doing their thing, Sam Darnold, Brian Flores, and whatnot. But if the Jets go out and win Sunday, I'm not going to be surprised.
But the thing, no, I won't be surprised either. But you have to know what you're getting. Like, they're going to blitz you. They have a very physical defense. They have a high flying offense. Like, you can't go in the game like, you know what? We can score 10 points and win this game. No, it could be a shootout. It could be a high flying game where you're going to score 24, 20 points to win it. And you have to be ready for that. Like they took a big smack in the mouth. Now it's on the leadership of this team to bounce back and, rally your troops here, because everybody's doubting you. All over the place is doubting me, you, everybody. Like, what do we have here? Now you rally back out of the country and come up with a big time performance and win the game and kind of alleviate all this nonsense.
Well, let me just kind of cut in right there and just say if this is your Jets offense, bro, the goal is never 10 points. If you have Aaron Rodgers as your quarter, like what's the point of going to get Aaron Rodgers if we're hoping to get 20 points on Sunday?
I mean, that's my concern. Like, you need to be aggressive. You want to play the best teams. You got to go. Like, you can't play down to the level of your opponent. You got to rise to the occasion. They have to do it this weekend, but you got to open up your offense. And again, it's like we talked about it. You need to see more creativity, more aggressiveness, more preparation, and eliminate these friggin' penalties, which is just unacceptable at this point. They're just killing drives or killing momentum. It's very, very frustrating, man. And then, like, you want to believe, like, I saw the comments, the Jets are still in the playoff hunt. They still have a great opportunity in front of them. They have to take advantage of it, though. Don't go spiraling when you have 3 tough games ahead of you. You lose 1, 2, 3, 4 in a row. The season takes off in the wrong direction. You got to right the ship as fast as possible.
Yeah, and to kind of tie it, all back into the start of this video with the whole Davante Adams thing, should, like, in the scenario here, like let's just assume for a second that it's the Jets that play the Broncos. That's the version of the Jets we get for the next 3 weeks. We're 2-5. Should that be a team that's trading away a potential first-round pick or a high second-round pick for Davante Adams? Like, would he come in and solve all of the issues? Because he's not going to solve pass rush. He's not going to stop run defense. Probably not going to solve a lot of confusion.
Well, that's something that we talked about last week a little bit, where I was kind of like the anti-Davante Adams trade. I was like, well, you know what? We may need a pass rusher. We haven't even talked about no sacks yet, which to me is absurd. They had no sacks when the Broncos had 5. But Reddick is a lost cause at this point. He's already lost $9 million. This is just, I gave up on him. But you may need a pass rusher. So if you get Davante Adams, which we all agree is a good idea, that's more cap space. You're going to be at the brink of cap space. So the trade deadline, I mean, what are you going to do for a pass rusher? You probably can't do it. So it's either trade away Reddick and try to get what you can from a 5th-round pick, who cares, to recoup that cap money that you can use to go get a pass rusher, because I think that's still going to be a need here. I mean, would you agree with that pass rusher still is going to be a problem for this team?
Yeah, I mean, until And credit Will McDonald, man, he's been killing it this season.
Yep.
But just because we have Will McDonald does not mean that just the entire unit is just going to be attacking, QBs. Um, let me ask you this: do you think there's a possibility that the Jets just cut Reddick?
You know what? I've been thinking about that. But what's the cap hit if you do it though? Isn't there a cap hit for that?
Well, he's not guaranteed any money, and obviously he's not showing up so far.
Yeah,
So he's just losing money. But the thing is, if he does show up, the Jets are going to start having to start paying him.
Yeah, I saw that one thing, but I know what's his face put it out today with the money that's still owed. It's like it's like what $11 million, something like that, right in your cap or whatever money it is. It's a lot. Like he could really burn them and just show up tomorrow. Like, hey, I'm here. Let's time to pay me. But that's my concern is just, I love Davante Adams, but the defense I think needs another piece. I really think it is, whether it's Reddick finally here or somebody else. But Will McDonald's he's gonna be like on everybody's radar now. Like, all right, that's the legit pass rusher. You tie him up. Who else is gonna make a big play? Will it be Quinnen? Who else is gonna be the guy that contributes? I don't think it's gonna be Michael Clemens. So,
gosh, dude, because you kind of feel. I mean, for me at least. And by the way, shout out to everybody hanging out. Over 400 people in here. It means the world, man. Thanks so much. You kind of feel, for me at least, like Reddick, dude, he would solve, just like putting the drama aside, just if you like Madden perspective, you take a son Reddick, you just put him on the Jets and you start him.
Yep.
That feels like a difference making type of move. But unfortunately, we're just not in that position.
I think he's almost embarrassed now, where he's lost so much and he looks so stupid, where it's kind of like he's got to face the music now, where you're not going to get the money you wanted. You're probably not going to recoup the fines that you've already given up. But now it's like, where does he go from here? Like, does he just say, you know what? I want to play football. The Jets have his contract next year if he sits out the whole year, so he doesn't want to do that. Is he going to report week 9 or week 8? Like is it even worth it at that point? At some point, he's going to have just give a face to mirror and be like, all right, I'm stuck. I'm literally stuck now because there's no one, you know what I mean? Like, or the Jets say, we're going to trade you to a team for a 5th round pick just to get you the hell out of here, and they could deal with him. Can't go back to the Eagles. We already know about that. But maybe, I don't know. It's such an odd situation, but he'd be the fix. He'd be the guy that you actually need now because you're seeing it more and more when you play a high-flying offense, which you're going to play next 2 weeks. And that's, to be honest with you, that's when it gets exposed. If you don't hit Sam Darnold and he throws for 400 yards, 300 yards, if you don't get to Josh Allen, he throws 350 yards because they have no pass rush, then the panic mode really sits in because you need that guy. And then, he has some leverage, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, so AP, what's going on, man? Thank you so much, bro. All this talk about Rodgers' cadence seems silly considering he snaps the ball at 0 or 1 seconds every play, it seems. Thoughts? Yeah, so I'll let you kind of take this one away, Tyson. Like, what's kind of your takeaway with this whole, like, Saleh versus Rodgers? Rodgers has his specific way of doing things, but we're getting delay of games. We're getting false starts. Where do you kind of stand on it?
Well, I'll say that the delay of games drove me crazy. They really did. Because I'm like, it was 2 a game. You're blowing timeouts. Also, that drove me crazy. The cadence is what he does. Like, that is just coaching and discipline. And for Saleh to mention that is just absurd. I just, what you get with Aaron Rodgers, a Hall of Fame legendary quarterback. This is what he does. It's respected. It works. Like, if it's not broke, don't fix it. It's just Saleh drove me crazy. I couldn't believe that's the route he took. And then he backtracked from it. But Rodgers didn't play well on Sunday, but he is far from the problem, man. These guys, what do they do in practice? Do they practice this? Do they work on it? Do they work on communication? Is there any chemistry? And if there's not chemistry, then figure out how to work on it. Do more, right? Like this is all fixable stuff here.
Gosh, dude, it stresses me out thinking about it. But my kind of just thought process on it is, okay, if this is what pick a direction and stick with it, right? Like, to me, there's no excuse for. All right, let's just take Rodgers' side for a sec, right? This is what he wants to do. This is how he's always done it, and obviously Hackett's cool with it. To take the play clock all the way down, really trying to get the other team to jump off sides. If you want to do that, like, perfect it. We shouldn't be looking like it's the 2nd or 3rd week of preseason in week 4.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it seems like this is what the direction that the Jets want to go in, but it's not perfected. So we have a bunch of penalties and it's just everybody's like not on the same page. And then you have Saleh having to answer questions about it after the game. And he's just, again, doesn't really have much of an input offensively. So it's not like he has the key to figuring things out. He's just looking at it like, all right, there's penalties.
But
And
the one thing I wonder is it's two things. It's, do the play calls get in a timely manner? That's the one thing. And are they too long? Where sometimes he's at the line of scrimmage with 13 seconds left, and he drags it out. Sometimes he's really cutting. He's getting to the center at 5 seconds. But I'm wondering, is there a communication issue? Because these things happened last year too with Zach. Like, it's like you kind of look at, they had some of these issues in the past where it's like, are the play calls getting in? Like, I'm wondering what the whole line of communication, does it go Downing to Hackett to Downing to Rodgers? Like, is that all streamlined? Because I remember Connor Hughes asked about that last year, like how they called the plays. And I think it was like a twofold. It went like somebody, then the Rodgers. I think Downing called him the Rodgers, not Hackett, or some nonsense. But that's kind of things I'd like to know, the inside track of how they actually do all this stuff.
Well, dude, you remember those Sean Payton comments, man? They couldn't even get a freaking playoff.
Yep.
That's not just a random throwaway statement. Like, that's super specific. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's maybe there's a delay, or maybe it's a longer thought process from Hackett before he decides on a play. Maybe the play calls are just simply too long, to where it's taking a long time for him to relay them to the QB, and then the QB has to relay them to, the rest of the huddle. Then you got to get lined up, and then Rodgers is working his cadence. But this is an excellent point here from the greatness here. This is frustrating because this is frustrating because you won't have a QB 2 years from now. The window is short, and you don't have time for errors.
Bingo.
I agree, man. Look, if Rodgers was 32, it wouldn't be as big of it. I mean, it would still be an issue. I would still be pissed watching this team lose, but it's not like, like your back. The Jets' back is against the wall. Douglas's back is against the wall. Like, he's been here forever. This is his team. This is his decision to acquire Aaron this late into his career. I mean, it's not a guarantee that Aaron's going to show up next year.
But not even that. This is your window. This is your Aaron Rodgers window right now. And we talked about it all offseason. They have a lot of players on a last year contract right now. Conklin, DJ Reed, all these guys. It's like this is your window for this team. Next year could be a whole new regime, whole new team. You've got to find ways to maximize what you have right now as soon as possible. And games like Sunday just can't happen. They can't. Everybody, one thing is like, oh, they have a bad game every year. They really haven't played great all year, minus the Patriot game. So this is kind of a trend now where they've got to turn it around fast.
Yeah. So here, bro, you don't have to keep on, setting in super chats here, bro. This play drove me insane. Was this the play that Solomon Thomas was in? I don't get it, man. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm smarter than Hackett or I know his system better, but dude,
Mike Williams wasn't even in the game. Mike Williams wasn't on the field. That's absurd.
And Mike Williams seems to actually get better as the weeks go on, man. He's looking freaking, dude, that kind of over the shoulder toe tap on the sidelines I think it was in the second quarter, man. Yep. That play was kick ass, man.
No, the using of the personnel is mind blowing, especially in the big spots of the game. Like, you call your best plays when the game's on the line. They had two plays in a row. The receivers didn't know where they're even going, and they give up a sack. It's just,
yeah. And Tony, JFM actually looked good.
He did.
Which was
a tackle for a loss, I think. Yeah, it's
package Hassan Reddick with Gibson for Adams. Yeah, I think I think Vegas is really shooting for draft capital, man. But I appreciate the super chat, bro. Thank you. And then Pete, dude, thank you so much, man. I don't know if you sent in a question here. Let me just double check. Either way, man, I appreciate you, bro. Thank you so much. You do not have to do that. Yeah, Hackett's terrible. Yo, Holmes, what's going on, bro? Hope you're doing well. Mike can catch anything. Yeah. Sean, bro, thank you, dude. Does A-Rod come back if Saul and Hackett fired? I don't know, man. I mean, who knows? Maybe Aaron wants that if things continue this way. Gosh, it goes back to the comment before from La Greatness, right? Where the window is just so small. Like, there's just no wiggle room. There's no room to operate. Decisions just have to be made, right? With the roster, with everything. So,
well, especially when he's dealing with the meat grinder that is the New York market now. Now it's like he's going to know what it's like to be a Jet when they lose, where the media is attacking you, the fans are attacking you. He's getting beat up. Both his legs were hurt. He's dragging off the field. They're losing. Where It becomes a grind. That smile goes off your face, and you're like, oh my God, this is terrible. Do I really want to do this again next year with a whole new coaching staff? Probably not. And if it gets to the point that somebody should be fired, it should happen during the season. Don't wait the end of the year. Like, I wouldn't even wait. Like, why even bother at that point?
Well, I mean, yeah, because if you don't wait, right, if you just promote Ulbrich, I mean, you never know. Like, you could be in a situation with like
The Raiders
Antonio
last year?
Pierce. Yeah, Antonio Pierce, or even like Rich Bisaccia years ago when the whole thing with Gruden happened, and then Rich steps in, and all of a sudden, like this team is like there's this massive spark.
But
So
wouldn't you want Woody Johnson to come into the facility on Monday morning and say, listen, what we saw yesterday at home in front of our fans is completely unacceptable. We need to clean up our entire act throughout our organization, or things are going to change around here. Like, I'm done watching this. We've invested too much money and too much talent. We're not getting the results we want. And put everybody on notice. Like, enough. And then if it doesn't happen in a couple weeks, you make the change. Like, I see so many comments saying, you can't do that midseason. No, I can. I have no problem doing it. Because, the players respect Ulbrich. They respect Middleton. You make it the spark you need. You make it automatically. We saw it with Antonio Pierce. You've seen it in the past where it actually works, where teams, they all of a sudden their act gets cleaned up. There's a lot more discipline, a lot more fire, a lot more motivation. It can happen. And we're at that point now. This next 3-game stretch, they better go 2-1, man. They better. Or things are going to be, it's going to be a huge problem, and you got to save your season. If that means firing Saleh, so be it. If that means demoting Hackett, just demote him. You're no longer a play caller. You're Rodgers' best friend. You can hang out with him in the cafeteria. That's fine. But we have somebody else calling plays. You got to do something. You can't be complacent, man.
I don't want to hear anything over these next 3 games of, oh, well, we're playing good teams.
Me neither. I'm done with it because you want to be these great teams. That's the problem.
Nicholas, if we get Adams, would he be the one? Yeah, 100%, man. 100%. LaFleur wasn't the problem. I agree, man. Not saying LaFleur was perfect. He definitely had some issues, but and he was a young coach, but he was not the main issue. The greatness. Thanks so much, man. Like I said, the window's short. Trade for Adams. Rodgers doesn't need play calls to unlock him, and Wilson will learn even more. For edge, trade for Clowney or a DT. Reddick saga's over. Yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen with Reddick, man.
And you can't trade for Clowney with Reddick still on the team. That's the problem. It's gonna be one, right? I'm almost sure with the cap space, it's gonna be one or the other. You can't do both.
Yeah, because like I said, dude, if Reddick shows up, that's gonna really shows up and holds in. Not talking about showing up and playing. You know what I mean? That could create an issue. Dude, yo, let me just say this real quick. How is Nick Folk still playing?
It's amazing, man.
I thought he was done after New England, man. Sorry, after that first year in New England.
Yep.
Trade the Raiders, Stella Hackett and Woody.
I'm down. Sign me up.
I would love Antonio Pierce as our coach.
I'll send him Hackett, no problem. I'll drive him there.
I definitely think we beat Minnie. I hope you're right, man. I mean, I don't want to sit here and disrespect the Vikings, but it's a winnable game.
Yeah.
I'm more concerned over Flores and the defense over Darnold. And who knows, maybe I'll eat my words after the game, but
the problem I have is I don't know what Jets team to believe in, because the Jets, when they go to London, they lost to the Falcons last time, didn't they? They didn't show up. They didn't go off the plane. They embarrassed themselves. So, like, what Jet team is going to show up? Are they going to come out, like, motivated and amped up, like, all right, we got to, like, step our game up here and give it a great effort? Or do they come out lackadaisical, sluggish, conservative, sleepwalking? If they do that, they're going to get blown out. So, as a fan, you want to believe, like, all right, I'm going to go with the Patriot version of the Jets. Like, that's the team we're going to see and have a lot of hope. Like, all right, they can win this game. Because if last week's team shows up, and that would be typical Jets too, getting blown out by Sam Darnold. That would be the ultimate same old Jets kind of loss too, where like their former first round pick comes back and drops 30 on them.
I don't even know what I would do. But Billy, yeah, man, you're 100% right. We are 2-2. But I think the frustrating thing is, and we were talking about this a little earlier, it's how we lost, right? It's how we looked, the confusion, the discombobulate, like everything was just kind of weird. It wasn't this back and forth shootout. It wasn't this great game between two solid teams. It was just one team looked bad, the other team looked worse, and
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe the Jets go out there and stop Minnesota. Like, things happen. The Jets still have freaking talent, man. Like, I'm not punting on the season, but
It's a week to week league. You're only as good as your last performance, and the last performance was miserable. So that's what And like, listen, I don't like being like this. I think I'm so mad and disappointed because our expectations are so high. Like, we're going in this like I want to win 11 games. The AFC East is so up for grabs right now. It's ridiculous. All you got to do is play competent, quality football, and you'll be in the mix. And the concern is they didn't play that, and that's where like Miami's falling apart, Patriots are falling apart. Like, it's there to be had, and you want to win it. Like, that's the goal of this, right?
Yeah, I agree, man. I mean, the Dolphins wide open. Like, they just dropped another game. No Tua.
Yep.
New England is they're just rebuilding. Power nap. I don't know if you're a Panther fan because it looks like a blue, like Carolina Blue Panther profile pic. But Jets will finish 8-9. Salah's too loving and soft. Yeah, that's one thing about this accountability, man. Is it's just the I mean, you hit the nail right on the head. They always have terrible game plans. Offensively, it always kind of seems like it's weird. Defensively, they're not half bad, but they don't really change it up too often.
Stubborn.
But I appreciate the super chat, man. Tyson, is there anything else that you want to cover?
I mean, this is pretty much an hour and 15-minute vent session, and I apologize for that because I've been pissed off since Sunday. I'm so frustrated because I hate seeing this. Like, you want to see quality football, man. It's all we ask for. If they would have lost 31-28, wild game, you see a lot of good things. All right, you own it. You saw a putrid performance where the coach backtracked now, players are questioning themselves, and it's the problem is your star players are questioning themselves. Brees, Garrett, that's concerning, man. We thought they were going to be like the bright spot, and now you're wondering about what's their mindset and like their psyche dealing with all this media scrutiny and the fan scrutiny. You have people literally saying, trade Brees, I want Braylon Allen. Like, what world are we living in right now? It's only October 1st. Like, it's so weird that we're here right now.
100%, man. 100%. Mike, we need Buffalo, or sorry, we need to beat Buffalo on Monday night. 1000%, dude. That and another thing to think about, man, Buffalo is beat up.
They are.
No Von Miller just suspended. No Matt Milano. No Taylor Rapp. No, I know I'm missing some more. Taron Johnson might play. I don't know. He might be back by then. And then they're missing one more player. Bernard at linebacker is a beast. How's the Dark Street?
The other thing too that you came out, not that I'm justifying a loss, but if you go 2-3 in the next 3 games, or 2-1 in the next 3 games, if you lose to the Vikings, not the worst case scenario because it's an NFC game, but you beat the Steelers and Bills, you're in a good spot. So, but you got to turn this around. It's going to be tough. I don't know, man. I'm nervous about Sunday already.
I don't, Dylan. Dude, I do not. I do not trust Joe Douglas to hire competent, unless it's somebody who's proven. But
I mean, his next hire will be the guy that's on the staff. It's going to be this year. It's going to be Ulbrich. He's got to pick a guy on the staff because I don't think he's going to get a chance next year. Do you honestly think if they fall apart this year, I don't think Douglas even keeps his job, does he? Because if you want to get, just saying in theory, you want to get
the playoffs, dude. If they go 9-8 and they don't even fall apart, they go 9-8. I don't think they're coming back. Yep. That's just me, though, right? It's just too, especially in this day and age, man. 2024, you're seeing these turnarounds so quick, bro. Houston went from bottom feeder to literally one of the talks of the NFL in 1 year. And it's not just Houston, right? Like Stefanski turned around the Browns with Baker Mayfield. Obviously, this season's not going that well, but he at least provided some stability to the franchise. We're seeing what's going on in Minnesota. Jay, I appreciate that, man. Ian, you guys should get on Green Beans live during the game. Yeah, I know Tyson live streams during the game too. Oh. Personally, I never I don't know, man. I'm when I watch games, dude, I just sit by myself. Occasionally I'll hang with my brother and I'll just watch in silence and I'll either get like really pumped up or really angry. Bro. But yeah, if you'll have me, I would definitely be down to jump on.
Our live stream on Sunday was absolutely insane. And you could tell the Jets are playing poorly when our viewers go up to like 400, 500, 1,000. When it gets in the thousands, Jets are playing terribly because that's when fans want to see us all pissed off because you just know things are going wrong. But Green Bean's awesome, man. I love Green Bean.
Sorry, Tyson. I'm Melody. I appreciate that, man. Relax. Yeah. So Brian, what is this you're seeing Anderson tweet? So first off, thanks for the super chat. Yeah, so I just pulled it up now. Let me see if I could share. The sharing screen is not working. Just as error, but basically I'll just read it out. All right. Or Tyson, I don't know if you could maybe pull it up on your end, but
Let me see if I can get it.
let's see. All right, so it's just Josina Anderson's like, oh, she seems like tapped in to what's going on here, but she goes, new. I'm told a Jets 2026 second round pick is conditionally involved in the trade that sent Hassan Reddick to Florham Park from Philly per sources. My understanding is that said condition is dependent upon the specifics of where Reddick lands if traded again. That's part of give me one quick second here. Hold on, sorry.
That's the part. Yeah, I got it. That's the part that's important and provides additional context to the protracted situation now. The Reddick trade was previously reported as only involving a 2026 conditional third round pick. So it was a second round pick now. It was a conditional second round pick that they gave up.
Sorry, I'm just kind of going over the tweet again, dude. So why even make that condition in the first place?
My God. This is just wild, dude. This is just wild. So now they're basically saying they're going to trade Reddick because it's a cap space thing. I'm almost sure it's a cap space thing. They've got to trade him, but it's a conditional second round pick they're getting. Oh my God. Bro.
That's the part that is important and provides additional context. My understanding is said condition is dependent upon the specific of where Reddick lands if traded again. Why? I mean, dude, for the Philadelphia Eagles to cut, I mean, I'm assuming the Eagles came up with that condition.
Yep.
Why the hell would you like? For me, I would gladly accept that condition if I'm confident that I'm going to be re-signing him. How is this situation getting freaking worse and worse, bro? It's insane.
And how is that story coming out now? How come everybody told us a third round pick? I don't like. I just like, and it's just, you want so bad to believe this organization. You want to think they're competent and doing things the right way, and you keep getting smacked in the face over and over with the things that you just don't understand.
Yeah. CJ, I appreciate the 5-man. Who needs therapy when we have you guys so we can get all together? Yeah, man. I mean, that's why I love the channel, right? In the good stuff and the bad stuff, we're all in it together. But I'll say this, man: the Jets fans they're the best, and we ride with the team, which is something I just love. Tom, I appreciate it, man. Solid an AI, same script over and over.
I'll say this though. I love Josina Anderson because she does really good insight. I wish she would word her tweets so much easier to read. Like, just say what you know. Like you need like a master's degree to kind of decipher what you just read. I've read it 4 times. I think I'm still confused, but I don't know.
Giving away a 2026 second,
bro.
But yeah, I think we're gonna hop off, guys.
It's like an hour and a half. It's like, yeah. I see. Look at the next one from Power Nap. There's no way this franchise is not cursed. It's just you can't make it up. It's like slowly but surely this whole Reddick thing comes out. Like another Joe Douglas masterclass trade. It's true though, because there's just no way. It just never. There's always another story that comes out. The Reddick thing is just mind blowing at this point. It makes no sense. Wait, is this true? You see, Dante, look at Dante's super chat.
Yeah. Power nap, dude. I appreciate the love, man. Thank you. And then certified hater. God, I don't even know what to say, man. At this point, we just need to get Davante and hope for the best. I agree, bro. I agree. Davante was spotted at Newark. I don't know if that's true or not.
All right, so wait, there's Afram got something. I believe the conditional 2026 third round, potential second round if he gets double-digit sacks and appears in 67% of the snaps. So that was a condition on the trade. It was based on performance and I guess getting double-digit sacks. I don't know. I give up.
So I believe the conditional 2026 third, a potential second if he gets double-digit sacks and appears in 60. That's because I remember reading something like that earlier in the year. like before the year started.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
So, God,
This team they test your sanity week in and week out. They really do.
but Dante, bro, I appreciate the I appreciate the 10, man. Holy crap, dude. Sorry, this stream went off the this whole Reddick thing, man. Oh my gosh. It went from a super positive one with Davante Adams, then to the Bronco game, now to the Reddick stuff.
Wait, before we go, I need to have one official JetsCentral statement. What is your max offer to get Davante Adams?
Second round pick and a late round pick. I'm not giving away a first round pick. I'm not doing it. This because we're already down picks, man.
Agree.
We traded multiple picks for Aaron Rodgers. All these let me rephrase. Not all of these picks, but a lot of these top end picks that Joe Douglas has made, they're not even on the team anymore. Becton, Zach, Elijah Moore, Denzel Mims, like they're not on the team. Now, I guess according to Justine Anderson, we don't have a second in 26. So I don't want to be, 3 straight years of, being behind the 8 ball with draft picks. But I mean, then again, dude, if given JD's track record, if he's making the picks, then I guess just trade him away.
Yeah, I mean, second round pick, I'd probably do it at this point. Especially if you have competition where you're getting pushed by the Commanders, or the Saints. I guess the Jets are kind of desperate right now, where you had to kind of go higher to get what you want. And I think Davante Adams could probably push the issue with himself by saying, "I want to go to the Jets," but we'll see.
Yeah, Dante. Yeah, so I was gonna say, man, because it would be weird for a player to just fly solo, right, without his agent or anything. Like the agent's probably going to be, if anything, doing that behind the scenes, but there can't really be tampering. You know what I mean?
I agree.
But give the Raiders Reddick in a fourth, dude. That'd be awesome if they would accept it. But we're gonna hop off, guys. I appreciate it, everybody hanging out, tuning in. This stream was awesome. It was a lot of fun. And again, like it was brought up before. It's cool to just kind of come on here. We can all kind of vent and hang out together. But anyway, next week we're going to be on Tyson's channel. Let's talk Jets Radio, Tuesday at 7.
Yes, sir.
Cool. So yeah, thanks again, guys. As always, go Jets.